Okay, this is Al Jones, AJ Home Buyers in Orlando, Florida, and I'm interviewing Sharon Vornholt of Louisville, Kentucky, a prominent real estate investor, friend of mine that I've met over the media and gleaned quite a bit from. And we're going to speak with her today on her real estate investing and how she got started and her successes and the do's and the don'ts. So, Sharon, how are you today?
I'm great, Al. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And as I said, I've gleaned a lot from you just knowing you. So I'd like to start with you telling me a little bit about yourself and your business.
Okay. I first started investing in real estate in 1998 during the time when I owned another business. I had a home inspection company for 17 years. And in January of 2008, I took the step of becoming a full-time real estate investor. And it's just been wonderful. I love real estate, and it gave me the opportunity to focus on it full-time rather than just part-time.
Good. So tell me, when you started, did you have your own money, or did you take courses, or just how did you get really involved in real estate investing?
Well, I had a friend who was a real estate agent that I met through my home inspection company, and she took me to a RIA meeting back in 1998, and I was pretty much hooked from that time on. I became a member, and I'm still a member to this day. So I started out part-time. You know, I used, I guess you would say like a small local bank, and lending was very favorable back then. It was pretty easy to get a loan, to get a construction loan. So I did a few rehabs, bought a few rentals, but it was just I just didn't have the time. The other business was so demanding. So, during that time, I figured out that I didn't really like being a landlord. So a couple of years ago, I sold my rentals and decided to work on passive income streams on the internet and through products and things, courses.
Oh, okay. I heard you say that during the time you started, it was easier to get construction loans and bank loans, and nowadays things have changed so dramatically. You think that people in your area could start the same way that you started, or you think that they have to do something different?
Well, I think it's a combination of both things. I think it's definitely a lot harder to get a loan, but I work with people. I'm primarily wholesaling these days, and I work with a number of people that have found private funds either through a private lender or through a small bank. But the thing that is consistent with all of these people is they have a job, they have income. And so I think if you've got a job and you've got good income, it's still possible to get a loan. I think you have better luck with your local, smaller, investor-friendly banks. But I do know a lot of people that are using private money, that have developed sources for private money and are going that route. Overall, I'd have to say, yeah, it's a lot harder.
Yes, I know in the Orlando area, I started myself back in the 80s and moved here in the 90s, and here we've had to resort to hard money, but hard money has become an issue now because going to hard money investors to get a loan is just like going to the bank. I mean, it used to be the value of the property is all that they went by, but now they treat you just like a bank, if not worse. Plus the points and the interest rates are much higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only used a hard money lender one time, and gosh, the interest just eats you alive on those loans.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are having great success with raising private money from people who are loaning money out of their self-directed Roth IRA. Possibly, I've got one buyer on my list that just has cash, but he's been investing for many years. So it just depends. But I think the ability to raise private money is critical now. And the thing that you don't ever know is, who do you know that has money? I think we tend to pre-qualify people and say, well, I don't know anybody that has $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to lend. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I think by asking and by putting it out there, people are getting, what are they getting in the bank? Like 1% or less.
All right.
If you can offer someone 8% or 9% on their money, you're still well below that old 15% for hard money. Mm-hmm. But they're getting a phenomenal rate of return on their money, and you're still getting a good deal. You know, you can live with 6, 8, 9% as opposed to 15%.
Oh, okay. So have you had many issues as far as raising private money in your area?
Well, I think you have to get comfortable with asking. Now, there are some people, a number of people out there that have programs for raising private money. But what I think it really takes is for you to put together a little portfolio of, this is who I am and I've been investing and these are my successes, and then just sitting down and talking to people. You hear people talking about meeting up in a restaurant and saying, I'm looking to buy a house, and the money would be secured by the house, and I'm buying them 70% of the ARV less repairs. You know, you have to explain what you do and why the people would have security, because most people only understand buying retail. So I think you have to ask around. You know, somebody told me a story about a week ago of going to their dentist, and they asked their dentist, you know, do you know anybody that's got cash or an IRA that they might want to loan to me? I'm a real estate investor. And the dentist said, yes, I've got money sitting in my IRA, and I know my wife has money, and they walked out of there that day with 2 private lenders.
All right. And that's the way it's done. I have some friends that when they began to share some things with me about raising private money, as far as, you know, we do a lot of networking here, and, you know, actually Friday I'll be at a big event, a humongous event. And the best way to do it is, just like you said, let people know what you're doing, and not ask them if they have anything that they want to invest, but do they know someone? And I find that's, you know, they'll come to, you know, so, do I know someone? Yes, I know someone, but if they have money that they're not making good interest on, you know, the first thing is, well, why didn't you ask me? Why can't I do it? So that's been your experience as well?
Yeah, you have to, and I think you have to set yourself up as a professional. Have a nice business card, and I think that is the secret to saying, do you know anyone, rather than asking them directly. Do you know anyone that would want to earn a great return on their money? And then just be willing to sit down and talk and be credible. And, you know, I think the money end of it is built on relationships, just like the rest of it is, the rest of this business is.
That's great. Well, you know, as I was sharing with you before we started the interview, I had a couple of ladies call me today, and they wanted to get involved in real estate investing. And it seems as though when ladies call, they don't know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. They're kind of skeptical. They want to get involved. Some of them are single moms with children to raise, or children getting ready to go to college. What kind of advice could you give me as a coach and a trainer to, when I present to a lady, you being a lady and being successful in this, to help them to feel confident that they can do this business?
Well, there are a ton of women out there. First of all, I think you need to belong to your RIA group, your Real Estate Investors group. It's critical to go in there and watch people and find people to mentor you. Now, there are a ton of women in real estate, and you probably have seen a lot of them and talked to a lot of them on Facebook. They have blogs.
Right.
They teach other people. There might have been a time when there was a disadvantage. Someone asked me recently for an article, did I find it was difficult when I started out? And I said, after being in the home inspection business, which was definitely a male-dominated field, being a real estate investor was a piece of cake. But what I found was that in the beginning, all those years ago, people were willing to help, but somehow the door wasn't quite open all the way to the good old boys club.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think other women found that too, and I don't even know that it was a conscious effort on their part so much as it had always been men, and they didn't really take us too seriously. I don't think it was a mean-spirited thing or anything like that. So what I have found is that women went out and they kind of made their own way, and they looked to other women. I've certainly look online. I read a lot of blogs, and I see what other women are doing, and women are very willing to help other women. So I don't think that needs to be a huge concern. You've got a lot of strong women out there. I know you know Lolita. There are a number of people out there that are training. They're putting out courses. I'll have a course for probates and absentee owners out here by the fall. Hopefully in the fall it'll be completed. So, and my only purpose in doing that is to show people that you can do it. You can do it. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's work, and you have to learn, you have to read. I listen to webinars even now after all these years. I listen to webinars all the time, and I always take a piece of information away.
Yes, you're right. You have to invest in yourself, and you have to read, you have to study, you have to network with other investors. I agree. And even after all these years, I've been in it since 87, and you have to continue. And another thing that I've learned, I don't know how you've experienced it, but I'm sure you have been in the industry. Things change so rapidly. The things that I used to use back in the 80s and the 90s, I can't use them anymore. It's just like 5 years ago, we were doing short sales, and we were doing other little things that they don't work now.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, if you don't do webinars and read and train yourself and network with other people, you don't stay abreast of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's another thing too. If you are just starting out and you don't have money, if you have a great deal, if you, for instance, belong to your local RIA group, I will guarantee you there's someone in there that will partner with you, that will put up the money and split the deal with you. And a lot of people get started that way. And I've heard people say, well, I don't want to split 50-50. Well, gosh, 50% of a deal is way better than 0% of not getting a deal, or 100% of not getting a deal.
That's right. And that could be very well help you get your start. I mean,
that's right.
You do a couple of those 50%. I mean, you don't have to keep doing it. You just don't spend all your money when you make it. You just
that's right.
You want to be independent and do it on your own. There's some steps you have to take. I agree. I agree with that. So, with your probates, you said that I heard you mention probates, and we've talked about it before, that you had a program that you were working on that should be up by maybe the fall of the year. So, how successful have you been with probates?
I love probates. I don't really like foreclosures, and I think short sales are hard, and you never know till you get right down to the wire if they're going to actually close. And I tell people to go after the low-hanging fruit, and I think that is probates and absentee owners. Probates, almost 100% across the board. They have a house that they don't want. They don't need a second house, and they're going to sell it. Now, some of those people will list the house on the MLS. Some of them will need a great deal of work, and they'll just want somebody to take them off their hands. But here's the thing with today's real estate market. Even those people that list the houses on the MLS, when they're still sitting there in 18 months, I get calls all the time. Will you just take this house off my hand? I've paid 18 months of utility bills, insurance. The insurance is high on a vacant property. So people ask me if I leave those people on my list if I know they're listed. Absolutely. I just check periodically, and if the house, I don't take them off till the house is sold. People fool with them varying lengths of time. And then there are those people on probates that don't even start working on a house till it's been a year. They're grieving, they just can't deal with cleaning out the house. But I love probates. Probates is hands down one of my best sources of leads. And also I love absentee owners. I'm in Kentucky. You're in Florida. And if you've got someone that has a house in your city and they're living in California, they may think they want to rent it for a year or two, and then it gets vacant, it gets vandalized, and one day they're just, I just want to be done with this house. And most people give up on marketing way too soon. They send out a letter or two or four, and then that's it. They quit. I market every month forever. And I will guarantee you that I get the call a lot of times because I'm the last man standing. I just keep mailing those people as long as that house is for sale.
Well, I find that a lot of people, they stop marketing because they don't understand the concept. And I had a problem with it at first because you spend a lot of money marketing, and especially when you're on a shoestring budget, you say, well, you try to limit how much money you put here and how much you put there. And it seems as though bandit signs aren't getting it, direct mail is not getting it, or your mailers aren't getting it, postcards aren't doing it. So you get discouraged and you want to stop. But I find it just like I always heard, the time you stop is the time you were getting ready to get that breakthrough. Mm-hmm. So
there are statistics, and I don't remember them right off the top of my head, but something like 85% of all of your sales will come after the fourth or fifth mailing. Mm-hmm. So you'll get calls on the other mailings, but you will get the most of your actual houses, your actual purchases down the road. And in the beginning, these folks will be getting a number of postcards or letters, but they will quit. By and large, they will all quit.
So you're saying persistence is what makes you successful in marketing? Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a rule that I take people off. I mail to people until I buy the house, someone else buys the house, or they ask me to be removed from my list.
Oh, I knew, we spoke before and you shared these things with me. And I noticed that you even had a letter on one of the blogs that you had on one of the on your website. Mm-hmm. This question, it was my question. Do you send the same letter? You said you mail month after month. Do you continually send the same letter, or you have letter 1, letter 2, letter 3, letter 4? Do you change that letter up any?
On probates, I will send my letter one time. I want to express my condolences, and I understand you may not be ready to sell now, but if it's okay with you, I'll keep sending it to you, and then when you're ready, you can call me. So that sort of a letter. After that, I have another 4 or 5 letters, and I changed them up a little bit, not significantly, but I'll send each letter a couple of times. I have switched to, I'm in the process of switching now my absentee owners. For years I used letters, and I use white letters to probates. I never send postcards to probates. But I'm switching, I had pretty good luck with the company I was using, but not great luck. And I'm in the process now of switching. And their recommendation is that you get a postcard, and they have full color postcards, and that you use the same postcard over and over, so that when they get your postcard, they remember you. And that they're a very successful marketing company. And So I'm really excited to be switching over with this company, and I'll be doing a post on this and putting it, in anything, as I get my results, because I think people need to know about this company. Their prices are great. They have drop dead beautiful postcards, and they're inexpensive.
Good. Yeah, I'll be glad to get that bit of information. So, absentee owners, what would you consider more successful, probates or absentee owners? What have you had your most success with?
It's probably about even, with probates maybe having an edge. With absentee owners, you have to always buy a list. In some cities, you can get the list of probates online. Here, I think I've told you before, I'm very lucky. They're printed in the paper every month at the same time. So they don't cost you any money for those leads. They cost you the time to look them up and be sure they have real property and that sort of thing. But you can always or almost always get the probate leads at no cost. So I tell people it's a great place to start. It gives you practice talking with people. You do have to be very, very mindful of their situation and speak to them in a certain way. I think you have to really build a rapport with probates.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking when I asked that question that probates, we know, because here we have to go to the courthouse and we have to purchase the list. Mm-hmm. Not that much. Some counties you have to purchase it. Some you have to go and spend the time. I'd rather purchase than sit on their computer and to try to figure them out myself. I'd rather get the list and pay for the list. They're not that expensive, but marketing, it costs money to market yourself. So I'd rather do it that way. But I was thinking because of the death ratio that it would be more probates than it would absentee owners. I would think I'm just starting to deal with absentee owners, so that's why I asked the question. I wasn't sure how many absentee owners or what the volume was, but I know probates, every month you're going to get new ones.
You're going to get new ones, yeah. And the question, when you're first starting out, like that first month, maybe you get 50 or 60. Will you leave those on, and next month you get 60 or 80, or however, the number is always different. But in a year or 15 months, you might have 1,000, 1,200 names. And then becomes the chore of going back and checking those and seeing which ones are sold and which ones aren't sold, that sort of thing. But in time, you're going to get a list that's going to stay pretty consistent at 900 to 1,200, 1,300 names. So you have, and like you said, you have new ones every month, and then some will drop off. Some people will call you and say, thanks, but the house is sold or whatever. You will have a few people asked to be taken off the list. But I can tell you honestly, in 4 years, I've only had about three or four people that called and said, I can't believe you're mailing to me. And once I explain that I will take them off the list and that I mail to let people know about the service, because a lot of people don't really know what you do with a house that needs $30,000, $40,000 worth of repairs. Once I explain it to them, they're no longer angry. They still may want to be off the list, but they say, okay, I get it now. But with the thing I like about absentee owners is with probates, you don't really know what the debt ratio is. It's kind of a crapshoot on that. But when you buy a list of absentee owners, what I do in my area, the median price of a house is about probably $158,000 or somewhere thereabouts. I don't change this all the time. So I get a list, and I'll get a list of homes that that are listed on the tax assessor's roll at about $50,000 up to about $200,000. And the reason I go up to $200,000 is I bought a couple of houses that had an after repair value of $200,000 that needed significant work that you could buy for $100,000. So the fact that they would eventually sell for $200,000 That just happens to be my range. Now, I also put in parameters that of areas that I don't want, like really bad areas, zip codes, and war zones. I take all of those zip codes out when I get the list. The houses that are too expensive will be automatically removed because they won't fall within whatever your top parameter is. And then the last thing that I do is I want a debt ratio of no more than 60% of the after repaired value, because, most investors buy on at 70% of the ARV less repairs. So there's just no point adding houses that, are up there.
Right. Well, that's pretty good. And that's basically, the way we do it here in the Orlando area. And, well, when you get your program together and, your postcard system together, I appreciate letting me know. And,
I will do that.
It was great having you on. Unless you have anything else to add, I don't think I have any more questions, today. But like I said, I appreciate, you coming on and, sharing a few things that you shared with us today. And, hopefully, we can have you back on, pretty soon, if that's okay with you.
Well, I would like that. I like that. And I think it's good to share what you know with other people and give them encouragement. Lord knows I've needed encouragement over the years. So it's great to be able to do that.
Yes, and we all do. And again, I want to thank you. And until next time, you have a great day.
Thank you, Al.